Hello, 300C Goth here. We're going to take a little bit of a drive just to have a little chit chat about EV stuff and my personal opinions on them and just my, overall preferences. But other than that, let's get cracking. Yeah, while I'm just leaving my estate area, to be honest with you, my idea on EVs is kind of meh. Everyone's to their own, right? I don't really see the point in them personally, from my view, only because that it's just one of those, I like my diesels. As you know, I drive a big chunky diesel and, Chrysler 300C, 3 litre diesel, da-di-da-di-da. But on the hindsight though, I just don't see the need for them. But not for me anyway. But it's more like, for other people, if they only do in-town mileage, it's fine, it's fair. Having a electric car doing in-town stuff is perfectly what it's for. I just saw an Ioniq. Can't stand the look of them. But I just don't see the need for them myself. And a lot of modern cars, same with a lot of them, they're just all near enough ugly. Just a lot of modern cars are just ugly looking. Just can't stand them. Like BMWs. And especially a lot of the new ones. I prefer a lot of the older ones personally. And what was it? But I love the idea of them, but the concept is great. Just batteries need to be gaining a lot of technology, because otherwise than that, they're still pointless at this point going long term. Like, let's say you're going to long distances. Let's say you're going to Cambridge and whatnot. Yes, there's about, about 50-mile journey from where I live, from Cambridge. Yeah, it's fair. But let's say you want to go further than that. 100 miles. You have to go and charge near enough twice. And, when you're going further than, let's say, going to Scotland, for example, from where I live, you're going to have to charge near enough 3 freaking times. It's not ideal. It's just not ideal whatsoever. And, you're taking time out of your day. So having a diesel or even a hybrid will even work. Hybrids do work. Distances, you're taking time out of your day for EVs. It's like, they're taking a lot of time, just go and charge them. Like, you're wasting, hours, depending on the charger. But like I said, though, it's not the diesel, it's not EVs that are really constant, it's the problem. It's more like, it's the government and many other sources trying to push them onto people. Like van drivers, you're a carpenter, you're going to carry about a good ton load of stuff, all your tools, all your materials that you're going to need for a job. This is not just applied for carpenters, there's plumbers, electricians, bricklayers, they're all going to need their diesels, mainly to push a lot of their stuff, to haul it. Otherwise you're not going to get not a lot of work done. You're just going to be wasting time, valuable time and money to go and charge it, which is not ideal. It's like tractors, well, not tractors, diggers, for example. Like, they did try, I believe JCB said they're not going to do electric diggers because it doesn't work for them. They don't see the point in it, because they're not getting the range what they need to allow people who buy their products to do the job. It doesn't work for them, and it doesn't work people for it to even use them. Because I believe I heard a story, quote me if I'm wrong, that one diggers that did the electric conversion were only basically, they get 8 hours worth of charging. Like, they need to charge for 8 hours, but then you can use the digger for 2 hours of those operating. But guess what's charging them? A diesel generator. Just on that information alone just shows how useless it can be. So it's just not feasible, not in the work environment. So government pushing electric vehicles onto people that's the problem that a lot of people are having. They're being forced to. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to happen anyway, because they keep pushing it back, and it's going to always go push back because people are not going to have it, because it doesn't work for the industry. And if it doesn't work for the industry, It's like he's going to work for the likes of you and me. It's like, I'm a carpenter, I'm using my car for all my tools, and it's a big diesel, and it does the job relatively well. Not in hauling materials because it's a bit small for that job. But yeah, so there you have it really. So let's get on with it. Modern cars in general are just ugly. They don't appeal to me, just me. Everyone's different, okay? Everyone's different. Everyone's going to have their separate views. Everyone's going to say, other people are going to say, oh yeah, EV does work for us. We're doing a lot of in town. But if you look at it in hindsight, it's like you can have a EV to do in town. Perfect, absolutely perfect. If you're going to have a hybrid to do in town, also perfect, because you get best of both worlds. Suppose you get to go further, you have you know, get to have your EV in some sense, but also diesels perfect for long journeys if you actually look after them well enough, because you know they all have their pros and cons. Diesels don't really like to do in towns, that's a known fact, but petrols can do in town. They don't like it as much, but they can do it. So can diesels in some pants, but you're just going to be paying through the nose for it. But it's like through petrols, they can do in town, just don't do it too often. And the same, but EVs, well, hybrids, they're best of everyone, near enough. Like, you know, like a lot of Priuses, they can last near enough a long time. I've seen some for 200 with 200k on them. They're running just well. I've seen one with a bad engine, but the EV side of it is still doing alright. Toyota's quite good with their stuff. I believe Toyotas don't really like EVs as much, but they're doing alright. And yeah, it's like, but electric cars just for town, perfect, not a problem. But EVs doing a lot of, you know, further out stuff, not really ideal, especially for cold weather. Yeah, cold weather, you lose about a good 20-40% of your range, and a diesel you lose nothing. Petrols you lose nothing. Hybrids you lose nothing, other than what's it called, for your battery side of things. That might suffer a bit, but you still got an engine, you know, what's the problem? But you know, it's like if someone has one car, I would suggest that EV wouldn't be your best route unless you're not going far, and then happy days, get one. It's all by you. You know, this is my opinion, so you know, don't, you know, take it by a grain of salt, you know. But yeah, so let's continue. Problem with the government side of things, that's basically where it comes to. It's like they keep pushing it back. They kills of petrol vehicles and diesels, and everyone must drive electric vehicles, etc, etc. But I can tell you now, it's not going to happen, because people do not, it doesn't work for everyone. End of discussion, really. It doesn't really work, and it doesn't work for me. It probably doesn't work a lot of people who watch this video and other videos like it. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't work for best of everyone. So they're trying to force us on them, and to be honest with you, half of, like, I remember seeing some things about EVs. It's like, you know, in the winter, it's like when you're driving, and you know, you can't always use half of your stuff because range anxiety. It's going to hit you, especially in this time especially in England, in a lot of weathers being so cold, and you know, half of your range goes down because of what's it called? Because of your battery. It doesn't like the cold. Diesels, like I said, they can tolerate the cold relatively nicely. Petrols can do the same thing. Hybrids, most likely probably still the same thing, like I said before. And like I said, this car serves me well. It keeps me warm. It's even got heated seats. It keeps my back and butt warm very well, you know. It's like but to be honest, I don't think I can tolerate being in a car that I'm going to have to charge. It's like, I can get an EV and I can charge it. It's not a problem. I have a house, I have a driveway. Simples. But like I said, though, when it comes to like people who live in flats and stuff like that, how are they going to charge? Air? Oh, I'm just going to go to work. Oh, I've got about 10% of battery left. Oh, I need to go and charge. That means that I'm going to be about an hour, 2 hours late. Or I have to get up early in the morning to go and charge in a freezing cold car. Yeah, don't see the point really. So, you know, they're most likely not going to buy electric cars. Actually, I'm working for a customer who's probably quite wealthy enough, and they don't want an electric car. They're happy with their old car. And to be honest with you, if you want to be really economical, you're best to go and keep with an older car. Get a used car. Because when you just end up keep buying new cars, you're using a lot of infrastructure. You're using a lot of materials, well they are anyway, to make them. Batteries are not clean at all. And to make batteries, cobalt, lithium, copper, etc. Same as producing diesel cars, petrol cars, you know, it's all within the same. So it's not economical whatsoever. None of them are. But when you keep with an older car, it's already been done. Been there, done that. All you're doing is just, let's say you get a used diesel car, you just put a new diesel in it, new oils, you know, all the same thing. And when you're getting a when you're using a, what's it called, when you're using a electric car, it's going to be you know, you're charging it, you're going to be using coal. Not 100% sure if we have any coal plants left, but we're still using gas, still a fossil fuel end of the day. And what was it? Like I said, still making it. And you know, you're not using wind power. Wind power can barely power a kettle for all I know of. And it's like unless we get what's it called, nuclear power. Yes, it's still some sort of raw material, but it will last. That's the good thing about nuclear power. To be honest with you, in my opinion, I say we should use nuclear power more. Gas works, but it's not as clean as they say it is. And electric, you know, when I say, oh, my house is run under renewable energy, but then that next house next to you probably isn't. And you're still on the same power lines as them. So you're saying they're going to plug in a plug and say you're solely on renewable energies, but the next person isn't. So we're going to plug them into a gas line. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately for you. Doesn't work for you. Doesn't work like that whatsoever. So you know, like I say, I'm a chippy. I speak to electricians. I see a lot of things how they really run, and especially in the infrastructure side of things, and you don't see, and you just don't hear it. It doesn't work. The cable lines are the same. They're the same as you to the next person. They're not specially plugged in, or otherwise you'd probably be paying an absolute bligging fortune. It's just they're probably using some sort of renewable energies to get power as well, but they're still going to be under the same lines no matter what company it is. Like all the companies that do electric prices are still going to be you know, still got their infrastructure. They could say they're renewable energy, but the company that, let's say, your next door neighbour's using probably isn't. What does that say? Be green all you want. It doesn't really make two odds. If you really want to be green, don't be a throwaway society. End of the day. It's like, you know, throw away your old car to go and get a new car. That's throwaway. That's not green at all. If you really want to be green, keep your old car. Repair the thing. Get it back up on the road. Don't fall for you know, all these narcissistic companies and trying to say you got to go and buy a new car. You got to be green. That's not being green, mate. That's being throwaway society. Throwaway society is not green whatsoever. No matter what you want to be, what you want to believe, it just doesn't really work. So let's get on with it. But yeah, as I'm stuck in traffic at the moment, nothing too fun. But yeah, it's just, that's just really my thoughts on it, because it's just, you hear people like saying, oh, I'm green, I'm driving an electric car. You're not green. End of discussion. You bought a new car. Your tyres, they cost a lot more because they're burning tyres, much as every vehicle do, so what's the frigging big deal? And you know, like I said, I would like to drive an electric car. I would like to get first-hand experience on it. I probably won't like it as much because, you know, I probably won't really feel too much of a regenerative braking and whatnot, but I'll probably get used to it if I kept the thing. But I'm keeping my older car because it's a lot more, like I said, beneficial to me. It's a lot more nicer. It's different. Not everyone will get a Chrysler. I won't say, you know, everyone should get a Chrysler, much as there are good vehicles and they're fun. But it's just more like just keep with an older vehicle. It's just doesn't really work if you get a new vehicle if you want to be green. It's just some all make believe, really. Make you buy things. Buy this, buy that. It's going to be this. It's just all marketing. At the end of the day, it's all marketing. It's all it comes to. Fucking marketing. Like, what's the big deal? It's like, you know, I could be marketing, oh, you should go and get this car because this car will last forever. No car lasts forever. All cars will have their problems. It's just a make deal of, is it going to be worthwhile? But it's like when you get a new car and you want to be green and they're trying to sell you to be green. And it's like, you know, some people are actually waking up to the fact that they're not buying electric cars anymore much. Just because that they're completely, they just doesn't work. And when the government, like I said, just want to force it upon you, and it's like, it doesn't work for anyone. I'm kind of repeating myself now. And it's just how much of a big deal it is. And like I said, throwaway society, you're not being green, aren't you? Let's sell my old vehicle just because there's a new one. Or just because this one gets better fuel economy. Fuel economy is good, but it only goes so far. So anyway, let's get on with it. Traffic, fun, Kesgrave, school traffic. I might go and try and turn around some point because this is kind of boring. But anyway, like, so I just can't stand the look of them, like Teslas, for example. Yeah, nah, ugly things. They're cheap, they're even cheaply made. Like, they charge arm and a leg, less they're going down because people are not buying them. Same with everything goes, but it's like, you know, trying to get these regulations on like insurance companies or whatnot, and you know, I was hearing some things about that. You know, they can't stop people driving or, you know, driving cars. It's just not going to happen. People will say otherwise, the likes of me and you will say otherwise. And it's just not going to happen. I can't see it happening. You know, yes, I might be only 26. You know, some of you guys might say I'm talking out my ass. Or by means, go for it. But it's like, yeah, it's just, don't see the point in it. You know, it just doesn't work. People are not going to stand for something, not going to be being told what to do. We're the human race, you know. We're not going to get told what to do. You know, it only will go so far. And then people say, hell, make us. You know, there's more of us compared to them. It's not going to work. They can say, they can try to manipulate us all they want. It's not going to work. End of discussion. So, yeah. So that's just my little view on it, really. And, you know, just testing out my new car talks and whatnot. Just having a little play around. And I thought, you know, do something slightly serious. And just a little fun drive. And, you know, sharing my thoughts on EVs, because I'm not going to talk about EVs too much because it's already been there, done that. A lot of people are already talking about them. But, you know, just getting a few things. So, like, in conclusion, it's kind of like, you know, EVs are not the problem. It's more the government trying to push it on us. Push it on people who don't want it, who can't have them. People who just wants to get in their car, be warm, or get out there, have even their air conditionings on without losing all these range, having too much range anxiety. You're going to get in everything anyway, being your petrol EV. That, let's say you miss your fuel and your fuel stop, and you know, now you're running low. You know, it's not a nice feeling, but EVs are going to get worse because their mileage are a lot lower. So this is why I say in town is perfect for them. Hybrids in town is perfect for them as well. Like, if you want to be a delivery driver, hybrid, perfect, trust me, perfect. Diesel on a delivery driver, don't, it's worse. Especially if you're working for Domino's or anything and such of a means of imagination, it's not going to work for you. But petrol's ideal. But being in a, what's it called? Being in an electric car for deliveries is not going to work out for you too much, because you're going to lose a lot of money, especially for Domino's. I used to be a Domino's driver. I used to drive in my diesel. I had to go out very often just to circulate it a bit, because going in town mileage is not great. I used to be a Rotomoni git. You gotta get out there. You just got to say your views on things sometimes, because otherwise nothing gets done. And yeah, let's crack on. But yeah, even back then, this area never used to have speed cameras. But it's mainly because they put like traffic lights up here, and they never used to be there for. Actually, to be honest, I think they only started there about halfway last year, and when they start building it. But you know, they're trying to control a lot of things that we do, and they want to go and get EVs out there so they can control the cars. And like I said, you keep with your old car, you're not going to have much of a problem other than insurance. And to be honest with the insurance matter, it's like if they try to boost up their premiums, they're going to lose money. They can't stop you driving cars because they lose money. There's a lot of money in people driving cars, believe it or not. You're making the government a lot of money just by driving, believe it or not. So they're not going to get rid of cars in general. Any car for that matter, as far as I'm concerned of. Oil companies make a heck of a lot of money on gas, petrol, crude oil, should say. That would just cover diesel as well. It covers everything. And yeah, it's just doesn't really, you know, it's not going to work. So they can't do it. They can't actually stop us doing what we want, because because they lose a lot of money, and yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Anyway, let's move on. Like when I say diesel, you know, 100,000 fires last year, etc., and only about 30 odd EVs caught fire. Do you know why that is? Because there's more diesel and petrol cars on the road. Going there, diesel, petrols, hybrids, electric cars, everything can catch fire under certain conditions. Diesel, yes, you can put a naked flame onto it, it won't burn. It's like jet fuel in a way. To be honest with you, diesel, in my opinion, acts exactly the same as kerosene. You can't ignite it under a naked flame, but you can both you can ignite both under a spray, because that it's under pressure load, and they both get incredibly hot when they're cooking, when they're on fire. But when it comes to jet fuel igniting, it burns incredibly a lot hotter. And when it comes down to diesel, it'll just burn like kerosene for a very long time, because it's the oils that's in their fuels. Petrols will burn, but it will only burn in only one area, and it'll probably burn itself out rather quickly. But you can still extinguish diesel, petrols, and jet fuels. You can extinguish them. That's not, you know, there's not a lot of safety risks within the fires themselves. They will stay in a very small area just because that it's just the way they burn. Hybrids, electrics, when they burn, like lithium example, the main point here, when they burn, it will pop, bang, and it will spray, because it's just the way they burn. But you can't really ignite, you can't really extinguish them very well. You have to let them burn, because they just can't, because they grab too much oxygen. They create their own oxygens, and they burn incredibly hot too. So out of, let's say you want to go through safety terms, diesel and petrol, you're going to be a lot safer if they burn, because they're not going to spread. They're not going to spray anything. They're not blasting fire out one direction or another. But it's like when they do, like when diesels and petrols combust, they're very in confined area. They're not going to spread like about 2 meters radius, 3 meter radiuses, but they'll just stay within themselves, and they could be extinguishable pretty quickly, a matter of fact. Electric cars, they can't. But like I said, though, when it comes down to the likelihood on what catches fire, it doesn't really matter. It depends what conditions they're under, what state they're going to be in. When the electrics, when the EVs catches fire, it's going to be quite what's it called? It's going to be quite unpredictable when, because you'll never know until bang, it's gone. It starts smoking. What are they doing with that? But yeah, it's like when it does combust, you're not going to know it too much until too late. Diesels, and petrols, when they go up in flames, you'll see a lot of smoke. You pull over. Quite simple. And then hopefully you got a fire extinguisher, or you let it burn until you call the fire brigade and let them deal with it. Simple as that. And yeah, and it's like when they do combust, not a big deal. But like when EVs combust, there's not a lot you can do about it. They will just burn, and they'll burn until they go. Let's continue. But anyway, so that's the end of that really. I'm not going to go too much further with that. You know, it's just a little rant and just a good idea on how things actually really work out really, because like I said, you're trying to get like people who worships the EVs and say they're brilliant, da-di-da-da. For them, be as a man. But it's not for everyone. And when they get pushed onto it, it doesn't work. We touched on them igniting with the fire situation. Only because that there's more petrols and diesels doesn't mean the likelihood is going to be higher, because there's just more of them. There's not enough EVs out there at the moment because not a lot of people want them. So yeah, we touched on all of that. We touched on driving conditions. You know, it's going to be to the point that you know, you're going to end up having like, you know, if you want to go long journeys, petrol, diesel or hybrids is going to be your best bet. EVs is, you're just going to be wasting your time, a lot of its time. But yeah, so that was me, 300C Golf, having a little bit of rant, driving in this 300C, which I absolutely adore on these drives. Like, listen to this. Like, damn, even though we're on slow traffic, but soon we're going to go a little bit. 3, 2, 1. We're doing about 30 miles an hour at the moment, but that is just amazing. And we already were touching 50 from 30 just in that short amount of seconds. It's just lovely. Anyway, this is 300C Golf out.